Okay, so next item is the annual financial report, and we will not do that till the 11th, right?
Correct.
Okay, let's move on to old business, construction manager.
The board packet was updated today, so you will have to refer to your computer. Mary Ann, did we make any extra paper copies should somebody not have access?
I didn't. That was the one email that came at 3.
Correct.
I was in meetings, so about 6:20. Different than the one I saw yesterday.
Yeah, correct. We did not update it online. Is that just a new one that was sent you to? No, I'm looking for the CM, the one I sent you with the updated fee percentage from Nicholas. Did we update on them?
Well, I can pull it up.
Let's see. I don't know if I'm
Your
seeing
board book
it.
is working currently.
It looks like it's still the old one, unless it's attached to the back.
Are you looking on page 277? Is that where we're looking?
Yeah, that should be 4.5 or 4.75. I sent a new one to Mary Ann this afternoon.
What should the new one be?
4.75.
The CM fee?
Right. Mary Ann, do you have, check on page 370. That's where the new one is at.
370.
Okay, so I finally got this finalized today about 2:30. This is with our construction manager. I'm going to update the board on the process. We left our last board meeting. We agreed in principle that Nicholas and Associates went through the selection process of the advisory council and the superintendent and the architect. We came down with Nicholas and Associates as our choice. We originally had agreed to do an AIA 134, which is a construction manager as constructor, which puts some skin in the game for the construction manager. At that board meeting, it was decided that we would select a different legal counsel to review our construction documents, just to reassure that all of the T's were crossed and I's were dotted in relation to the new project. Someone that has a little more expertise in construction litigation. Working with that new firm, it was two things were recommended. They liked the idea of using a construction manager as constructor, but they felt that it still provided too much risk to the district. They felt that whenever you use a construction manager as constructor, you should use an AIA 133, which means the construction manager has to provide you a guaranteed max price. So what will happen is we have got in principle or in concept an agreement with Nicholas to now change the original negotiations that we completed over to an AIA 133, which means they are now going to be construction manager constructor with a guaranteed max price. And that ties in a little bit to the concept that Mr. Gritchen was previously discussing. What will happen is when 90 to 95% of the bid documents are completed, the construction manager will give us a guaranteed max price, and then that is what we use for the project. And that gives the construction manager a ceiling that he has to remain under to complete the project. And the legal counsel we discussed with said this is the best way to do a construction manager as constructor project. It provides the district the ultimate protection. That being said, I need to highlight for you, as it was discussed in most of our interviews with all the firms, the CM fee for most of our vendors does increase when you go to this type of construction manager contract, because they are now assuming a lot more risk. And so the original fee that we had bargained was 4.0, and now going to this contract, it's gone up by 3/4 of a point. The attorneys and I were in discussions back and forth. We were in negotiations originally. There was discussions of going up a full point. The owner of Nicholas and I were able to get down to 4.75 this afternoon. The other change to the proposal that was submitted is right below that CM fee is the payment and performance bond premium, which will be at a rate of 1%. Now remember, this is all based on a $6.5 million exercise. We do not know what the project's going to cost yet till the bid documents are complete. But based on it's basically 1% for this on a $6.5 million project. It's about $65,000. The construction litigator that we use said this provides the district the ultimate protection of payments and performance on the construction manager and then all the subs. So basically, it's one premium bond. So by using the new legal counsel and establishing some things, it costs us, probably would cost us the project or the agreement with the CM an additional roughly $100,000, $105,000. I'm thinking roughly, what's 75 per?
115.
115.
65 for the bond and 50,000 for the 3/4.
There you go.
Percent.
So roughly 115,000, but this ultimately provides us the best insurance and protection on the project. So what I'm looking for the board to do tonight, we had an AIA agreement. I'm going to flip to my notes here. Give me 1 minute, please.
Kevin, at what point are all the construction documents, do they come throughout the project, or would we expect to see them before we even break ground?
The construction documents, I believe, are finalized somewhere in, right before we go out to bid, the bid documents.
So
So
we
the
would,
the construction plans and stuff have to be finalized before that so that the bids are accurate to align with the specifications in the final drawings.
so we would lock in our price before we ever break ground.
Right, so when 90% of the bids are in, and then that's why you get the guaranteed max price, because if it doesn't fit in if he gives us a guaranteed max price that's outside of our budget, then we have to go back and reestablish where we're gonna change. So this provides us to make sure that we're not spending out of our means or not excessive change orders and things like that.
It's really not.
One thing I wanted, so in principle, I spoke with both the construction attorney, and it turned out our construction attorney also knew Mr. Jepson, so I know Mr. Jepson followed up with him. But in principle, what I'm looking for the Board of Education to approve tonight is that we approve in principle working with Nicholas and Associates as our CM under a guaranteed max price contract. Understanding that we have to just finally approve the AIA contract at our next board meeting. All the terms and stuff that went back and forth from our 134 were basically just dumped right into this new contract. And so Nicholas is in agreement with everything with the retainage and their insurance and payment structures and those things. So just in order so I can start working with Carrie and the construction manager, see if there's a way we can prove in principle or in concept that we'll pay Nicholas the 4.75 and the 1% premium bond. We'll approve in general their exhibit that was submitted tonight, and then we'll just formally approve the AIA next month.
That doesn't add up, does it?
It's Kevin, they didn't correct, the 409 for the total CM line, it's based on the old 4%.
Old format. Right.
It was the 4% plus the 149, it didn't include the bond and the
Correct.
extra 3/4.
All right, does anybody have a problem doing this, or have any questions for Kevin? So Ed, you talked to the attorney?
Yeah, I know the lawyer, I hired the lawyer at my firm that was working with Ruff 20-some years ago, so it wasn't somebody that he just sloughed it off to who was a junior associate. This is somebody with 20-plus years of experience, very good lawyer. We talked about it, talked about whether these numbers were market, and he told me he thought we got a good deal on the CM fee, because it usually would be a full point more, and that the 1% on the bond was market. He also told me, like somebody else in town who's a very excellent construction lawyer, who I asked about this, was that this was the way to go. The max fee plus the bond. You're paying more, but you're buying insurance on a project that is, $6.5 million. So I'm for it.
Any other questions for Kevin on this?
So we're paying 50,000, what's different from what was proposed before is by paying again, based on a $6.5 million project, we pay an extra 3/4. The 50,000 gives us some guarantee that the price will be capped on all this, and really force the CM to manage the subs. It's a type of insurance or hedge or however you want to do it. The only other question I had, Kevin, is I thought we talked about whether we really needed to get a performance and payment bond on the whole amount, because aren't we gonna be double bonding then?
No.
If we work with the subs? Or
This is a payment and performance bond, and it will, Ed, you might need to help me with this, but this provides us the assurity of the project, and the performance is completed regardless if the sub goes off separate. So the bond, it's not double bonding.
We're
I
not
asked
gonna
it.
get a
But
performance
aren't we
and payment
bonding,
bond from
aren't
the
we
subs
bonding on
then?
the CM?
This is it.
This is it. That's the one whole thing on the whole project and on the CM.
So we're not
So we're
gonna
basically
get-
reimbursing them for the cost of purchasing one giant bond.
We're not gonna get bonds from the subs then?
We're required in the bid documents to make sure they have it, but we won't be double bonding in essence. I know that was the question that came up when we were doing it previously. That was the two things that the construction litigator thought we were exposed to, was not having a performance and payment bond, and then not having a guaranteed max price.
Okay,
So what do you want exactly? Say it again, because.
All right, so
what are you
what I'm
hoping
looking for tonight is an agreement basically to this proposal. Obviously, there's one edit on the 409, we can do the math. But more or less, in approving in concept that we're gonna use Nicholas on a GMP at 4.75 with a 1% premium bond. The 65,000 is kind of a moot point. It's 1% of the GMP.
Right.
And so then all I have to bring you back in November is just the AIA finalized with both attorneys signing off. All the red lines and things that were submitted and sent in that draft and were discussed with Nicholas over the last 2 days, everybody's in agreement with all that stuff, the payment structure. They're tightening up the architect's responsibilities compared to our MOU with our current architect. So all that will fall into place. I think it's more, that's just minutia. The biggest thing that we needed to
You're looking
improve
for
was.
authority to go forward and finalize this under those terms.
Right, so I could start, so basically Nicholas also has some assurance that they're
Yeah,
working
motion.
with us, and they can start doing some work
Yes.
with Carrie. Their fee's not gonna change in the two biggest expenses to us are the 1% of the bond and the CM fee now.
so Tim, do you have something that we can do?
You wanna do
A motion.
resolution?
Yeah, resolution.
Should we do a
Yeah, one there.
resolution, or should we just do a formal opposed, or?
I think let's do a resolution and just state like what you said.
By the way, the amount in that would be 523, 510 on that one line that's got the typo on it.
Okay. 523, 510?
Yeah. So you want to do, say, we'll approve
CM fee,
Nichols' proposal
In principle,
in principle with the rate and the.
performance.
a CM fee of
Perform-
4.75 and a payment performance bond with a 1%
And the
premium.
general conditions.
Right.
Okay,
And that,
Or you
So
could
that
just,
you can
we could
fund-
just approve the terms of their proposal with the exception of the edit.
okay.
I don't know, however you want to.
Is that okay with you?
That's
Ed?
fine with me, Tim.
Okay. Resolved, the Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, approves the proposal by Nicholas to be the construction manager for the renovation of the stadium and the other facilities west of Golf Road as presented, and
And the roofs.
Here, you got, there's a little thing right here that you can maybe use.
okay, wait, we had one already?
Some page.
All right,
two.
resolve the Board of Education Township High School District 2A, Cook County, Illinois hereby approves the recommendation of Nicholas and Associates to serve as the construction manager, constructor with a guaranteed max price, GMC-GMP, for life safety capital improvement projects on district property west of Golf Road in the identified section of the roof on the main school building, and we're not gonna say in the AIA.
Right.
yet.
Right, 'cause
We're
we're not-
excluding
right.
that portion.
Okay. The services of the construction manager as constructor for the identified project shall be subject to the terms and conditions of an AIA 133 and AIA 201 document.
That will be changed. Yeah,
Let's
you're
take
right.
that out completely.
I would just where
All
you.
right. Mary Ann, I'm gonna read it again so you don't have to try to get it, okay? One more time. Resolve the Board of Education, Township High School District 2A, Cook County, Illinois. Hereby approves the recommendation of Nicholas and Associates to serve as the construction manager, constructor with guaranteed maximum price CMC-GMP for the life safety capital improvements projects on the district's property west of Gulf Road and the identified section of the roof on the main school building as presented and discussed in the October 28, 2014 Board Agenda Packet.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Gary Gritchen. Any other discussion? Mary Ann?
Mr. Gritchen?
Yes.
Mr. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Jepson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Seaver?
Yes. Kevin, great job on negotiating this. Good job.
Thank you.